Good evening, everybody. This is Greg Halverson. I'm coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, and just thought I'd check in. Would be installment number 4 on the new YouTube channel. Same channel, just different tack, different colloquial style. Just talking about life, weighing in on opinions, and just trying not to say too much. It's funny. There it is. It's just like it's a habit that's difficult to break if you're not like a everyday professional. When you try to gather your thoughts, you end up saying which isn't good for videos and just communication in general. Like when you're talking to someone, you don't like the mailman or somebody. You don't say But it's funny when you're doing a video, you're trying to convey opinions and points and make points and opine a little bit on culture and society and politics and what's going on in America. To stop and pause and collect your thoughts instead of just a pregnant pause that's totally silent. You tend to want some filler, and one of the ways to fill the time is to collect your thoughts is just say So I noticed that on my last video, and I'll try to shut that down a little bit and correct that and become more professional. I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel, and I guess there's a little next to subscribe there's a little bell, and if you click on the bell, you can get notifications, YouTube notifications. So when I put up a new video, you'll see the new video. Otherwise, it'll just get lost in the stream. And you're subscribed to 200 people, 200 channels, Fox News, CNN, or whatever, NRA, GOA, Gun Owners of America, and it just gets lost in the stream if you don't have the bell on, or unless you specifically remember and dig a certain channel. Like I like Hickok 45 and Iraq Veteran 888, a great gun site, very educational. Two smart dudes running that show down in Georgia. Great people. And unless you go specifically and remember, I got to go see Greg, it'll just get lost in the stream. But if you hit the bell, I guess you'll get a notification, which is cool. So please subscribe. I appreciate it. I picked up a few subscribers. I started out 3 videos and had 143 subscribers, and now I have 166. So really taking off like a rocket ship. One of the things I wanted to address, and this is sort of random and a little bit spontaneous, but one thing I did want to address is just the whimpification of America, just the massive whimpification of America that I'm seeing. And I was talking to my mother out in Oregon the other day, and I couldn't believe it. We were discussing that we sprang forward an hour on Saturday night, right? And then the next couple of days, I'm reading articles on, CBS, just mainstream news sites, and there's health warnings about depression. When people spring forward, they're more prone to depression, and I guess. It's a real health risk, springing forward and losing an hour's sleep. So when we spring forward, try to take it easy a little bit. You lost an hour's sleep, and it's a psychological change of having a different, it's lighter at a different hour of the day, and that can really cause, upset your circadian rhythms and cause depression. So, try to take it easy for a while. And if you need help, seek a healthcare professional or a mental health counseling because you sprang forward an hour. Are you kidding me? I was like, that dude, a nation of such people cannot survive. A free people cannot be free if if springing forward your clock 1 hour causes you emotional trauma. We are done, people. And I'm not gonna. I mean, look what's going on in the country today. You don't elect who's in charge of the Senate, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, and put Joe Biden in charge of things if you aren't traumatized by springing forward your clock 1 hour. And I was just thinking and discussing this with my mom. Think about the pioneers. I mean, the notion that we would be traumatized by changing the clock 1 hour. These people were like waking in the middle of the night with arrows, whipping arrows going through their Conestoga wagon with their baby on their back. And, next thing you know, they're shooting and Indians are war whooping around the place and there's frickin' buffalo stampeding on the hill. And, and it's 20 degrees outside with the wind blowing. And the only way they can survive is by killing an animal and butchering it. It is just mind-boggling how wimpy modern society has become, and particularly among, it applies to both men and women. Oh, did I say man and women? Oh, I apologize. I apologize for saying man and women. Use your own pronouns, whatever you want. Use your own pronouns. That's where we're at as a country. And it's a disaster. But yeah, the whimpification applies to both men and women, but particularly men. Let's just face it. The destruction of the emasculation of boys is just a complete disaster for our country. It's really sad, and it needs to be fought. There's ways to fight it, and I just took liberty to write a few things down. I think this started. It's been going on a long time, and I think it kind of started. I was just thinking about a starting point. I was walking around tonight and thinking about it, and I think it started when they ended the draft. I think was it at the end of Vietnam, or maybe 76, 77. I don't know when exactly they ended the draft. You can bingo look it up instantly. But when they ended the draft, suddenly you had all young men were no longer required to serve in the military for 2 years. So first of all, they no longer were required to serve their country. They were no longer exposed to the discipline of the military, all of them, and no longer given gun training, exposed to firearms, and put into the culture of the military, where the focus is not on the individual, but on killing the enemy, and that's all there is to it. That's what you're there for. That's what we're here to do. And the focus is on mission. And it creates a certain amount of toughness. Now, of course, now with Biden in charge of the military has become a woke disaster that might as well be run by the Feminist Studies Department at Brown University. It's a freaking disaster. That's another matter. We're talking about the whimpification of America. So we went from John Wayne's America, the Green Berets, great movie, and just I said I should have like a shot collar. But so we went from that, and then the anti-war movement started. Flower power in the mid '60s, '60s, Summer of Love, and so you ended the draft, and I think that sort of started the ball rolling a little bit there. So, and I personally think that we should be drafting. We should have to serve in the military. I wish that I had been drafted. I didn't serve in the military, and it's a major regret in my lifetime. It was the mid '80s. There was no war going on. And Reagan was crushing the Russians, and so there was no really urge to go into the military at the time. Although I should have known better, but at the time, the culture back then was even, losers go in the military. What are you, a loser? Go to college, you loser. And exactly, in retrospect, it's the opposite. The winners. I would have been a winner if I'd gone to the Marine Corps for 4 years and then gone to college. But, that's living in the past, and that's water on the bridge. I would have loved the military, or I certainly would have got my ass handed to me and been made more disciplined and a better person had I served in the military. And once you serve, you serve, you have that in your back pocket, a resume builder for the rest of your life. So I think there should be a draft. I just do. And the other thing is, I was going to talk about is the demonization of gun ownership. Kids literally, I live in Tennessee, and for sure here in Tennessee, but around the country, they would have shotguns in the back of their trucks and shotguns in their unlocked cars, in the parking lot at high school. The slow, inexorable, relentless demonization of guns and gun ownership contributes greatly to the wimpification of America, to the point where guys and girls of this generation, they're scared of guns. They are anti-gun. They reject gun ownership. And so I think obviously it's a bad thing. Hunting culture is American culture. It's good culture. It's self-reliance. It's providing for your families. It is environmentally smart. It is eco-conscious to be a good, the most environmentally conscious people out there. Stewardships of the environment are people who kill their own food. Believe me. So they're not fake environmentalists like the leftists who want to just shut everything down. Build windmills that kill bald eagles by the thousands. But so the gun cult, the demonization of guns, and so that's another thing. I think that they should actually teach, and they used to. This is a fact. They used to in high schools around the country. They would teach firearm safety. They had gun classes in schools. At one time in America, in the 60s, the 70s probably, they phased them out, obviously, to the point where if you wear a shirt in a school that says I support the NRA, or if you have a gun on your shirt, in Georgia or anywhere, they'll suspend the kid. They'll make him take it off today. So it just that's not only contributes to the wimpification, it's a symbol and an affirmation of the wimpification of America. They should teach gun classes in school, gun ownership, firearm safety as an elective course, would not necessarily required, but they should, but they don't. And so we have people who are traumatized by springing forward. I mean, it's certainly something else, and it's a disaster for our country. Wimpification of America, I'm talking about. Drinking a little wine, cheers. And so it goes. The other thing I wanted to talk about, the masking compliance. It was another thing. That's wimpification. When I see this mask compliance, that's indicative to me of just this passive acceptance of what our masters tell us to do. It's wimpification. It's not thinking for yourself. It's sheep herd mentality. It's not scientific based. It's not rational. We have a disease that is 99.5% survivable and nearly 100% survivable by anyone healthy under 60. You know, if you don't have comorbidities and such, you know, if you're an elderly person or an obese person over 70, you know, you might want to take some bigger precautions. But this 100% mask compliance, and believe me, it's everywhere. People in their cars, on motorcycles, walking alone outside. I see them wearing masks, and it's a disgrace. But it's also an indication of the wimpification of America, the greatest country on earth. And it's sad. It's pathetic to see. You know, mass. College kids have zero chance of dying of COVID. Zero chance. Go on Vanderbilt's campus here in Nashville, Tennessee. Everyone's wearing a mask. It's insanity, is what it is. It's 100% anti-science, and again, indicative of wimpification, and it's just sad. And I'm going to try to keep these things. I got 16 minutes, 20 minutes or so. I'll just go a little bit longer. Don't have anything other than that to say. I mean, obviously, I could expound on this topic. The other thing, shot caller. The other thing I wanted to say is back to guns is the and this gets a little bit hazy and flickers in and out. It's my screen, but just bear with me, it clears up. The other thing I wanted to talk about was when you go online or on Twitter or whatever in social media, you just bought it. Look at the big tough gun owner. Yeah, he's just trying to prove his manhood by owning a gun, you know. Oh, that's just an extension of his penis. Ha ha ha. So, which is just stupid as hell and clownish to say that. But you see that a lot. You'll see that every single time. Guy shows a gun, AR-15. He must micro penis. You know, he needs a gun because he's got a micro penis. Ha ha ha. Freaking, it's insane, stupid. Obviously, leftist liberalism is a mental disorder. But actually, it's not trying to be a man. If you own a gun, you're not trying to be a man. You actually are being a man. There's a big difference. You are being a man. And if you are afraid of guns and don't want to own a gun, fine, that's fine. If you don't want to own a gun, that's fine with me. But if you're afraid of guns, you're irrational, and you're a wimp, and you're not a man. And part of being a man is owning a gun. I think that's really like a passage of manhood, to own and operate a gun and learn how to operate these wonderful tools that are the linchpin of freedom in our country. So there's that. And so that is just insane. You'll see it a lot. And the other thing I was going to say, lifting weights. The last thing before I go and let you go. Please subscribe to my channel. Please share it. I'll put it up on my Facebook pages. I'll put all the links to my pages down in the description when I post this. And the other thing is pumping iron. Every kid in America, every male kid in America should be taught by their parents to lift weights and pump iron. And again, you'll get and again with the gun thing. Oh yeah, he's lifting weights. He must, you know, he's compensating because he's lifting weights, compensating for some inadequacy. You know, inadequacy. Dude, no, lifting weights isn't about compensating and wanting to be a man. Lifting weights is making you a man. Okay. Lifting weights is fantastic. Pumping iron is wonderful, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in the future. I've always been a huge advocate of lifting weights, pumping iron. But that's another thing that parents can do to unwimpify their kids is to get them to pump iron, shoot guns, and don't apologize for doing either, period. I'm not going to go into football. Every kid should play football. Not every kid's cut out to play football, but But if you're big and strong and or aggressive or if you want your kid to be tougher as a third, fourth, fifth grader, get them to play football. Football is a massive boon to young men. It teaches them discipline, toughness, teamwork, perseverance, pushing through pain, and it's the greatest sport for young men that there is. So, I mean, that's just in a nutshell. I could do a whole entire show on that in football, and I'll probably will in the future. But thank you for listening. God bless you guys. My screen kind of starts going in a little bit out, so please forgive me for that. Maybe I'll need a new computer, but I need to get some revenue streams going here. Subscribe. So, but God bless you. God bless America. Keep fighting for freedom. Keep telling the truth, and we'll see you again soon. And ring that bell, subscribe, ding that bell, and get notifications. And God bless you guys. Have a good night. Cheers. Dang, little spillage. Cheers, and remember this sound. That's the sound of freedom. Amen.